My joy at work message to you for this week is about joining forces. But before I do that, I'd like to share a story with you. Many years ago, I was working in a division of a large organization that was going through a reorganization, as a result of which my boss and his team were let go. This is a common practice in many big companies. I knew that. I had worked at the company long enough to be aware, and it was also the first time I was experiencing this directly. On the day of this announcement, a senior vice president in another part of the company contacted me. I had been doing some work for her for a while. She asked if I would be interested in moving over to her organization and bringing along the 4 people who worked for me and expand what we were doing for her. Well, I was very excited about this. The unfortunate thing is it didn't quite work out exactly that way. For 2 months, this reorganization dragged on with no communication. And if you are a change professional or a leader or someone who has experienced such a thing, you know what a terrible practice this is. And it's almost mean because you are in limbo for a very long time. Of course, I had communication with the senior vice president. I was still doing work for her, so that wasn't the problem. She just didn't have any new information and wasn't allowed to make any official announcement. Here's the problem. While it was great that her organization was intact and wasn't impacted, because that meant we had a great place to go, it also meant that that organization had no idea that this was happening with my team. So my team was sort of in this weird situation where the people they were doing work for didn't understand what was going on. The other thing that was common practice at the company and at many companies is that it was taboo to talk about who was being let go and that sort of thing. So nobody talked about it. On the one hand, I understand the intent behind that. On the other hand, it can lead to some very strange feelings, very strange behavior. After 2 months, I woke up one day and decided, that's it. I'm going to take things into my own hands. And what I mean by that is I was going to focus on what I could control and what I could influence. So here's what I did. I reached out to every person that my team members worked with and had one-on-one conversations with them. I let them know what was going on with my team. And I said to them, you may have noticed them struggling. They're at least coping with the situation. So I want you to be aware. And then I asked them to do something very simple, which was be kind, be generous, and be respectful of their situation. And that's it. What was so great was they were lovely in their reaction. The people who worked in this organization of this SVP, they had no idea. They had no idea this was happening. Now, the people outside of her organization that I talked to, turns out the floodgates opened, turns out they had some things that they were dealing with too. The bottom line is we were able to help each other. While we couldn't control what was happening overall, we certainly could control the experience that our people were having. So we could make something that was really horrible for them a little kinder and a little bit more tolerable. So my message to you with this very dramatic example is about joining forces. If you can see that colleagues are struggling or your team is struggling, you might look around and see who around you would potentially join forces with you to shift the atmosphere of your team. You could simply decide to be kinder, to contribute joy wherever you can. And with this intention, it will guide your words and actions to this more generous place. And something very small can have a big shift in how people feel. The great thing about it is by joining forces with others, it can lift your spirits as well. So my Joy at Work message for you for this week is to look for others to join with to create a more joyful workplace. It doesn't cost anything to be kind, and you can still get the job done and be kind at the same time. You might even improve your mental health as well. And what we always say at The Change Decision is how you think, how you feel, and how well you take care of yourself matters to a lot of people. We believe in you. Go create joy. Happy Monday.